whole time in secondary school, it seemed that I don't think anybody liked Laura Trait. I don't think Laura Trait was a good school. No, I don't think, I know Laura Trait was not a good school. And the smart people wanted out quick. So, like, in my class, Clitheroe, the whole school is predominantly African. And it's not like we're all African and get along. It's like we're African and like everyone is fighting and immature and messy and fighting to get on the bus and being really mannish. And there was like three girls in the classroom who were Caucasian and they were blonde. It was Jessica O'Connell, Natalie Latash, and Celia Roberts. And I was thinking the whole time, how the hell did they end up in this class? How the hell did they end up with a predominantly black class? That's so unfair. Like, even me being African Nigerian, I would not expect an English school to be made up of like 90% African Nigerian kids. And it wasn't just my class, it was the next class underneath and the next class underneath. Most of the people were black or were African, sorry. And then there was one girl called Jessica O'Connor, and she was like half Caucasian, half Spanish. And she ended up sitting with like Raquel, who was Colombian, Renier, who was also half Spanish and half Mexican and half Jamaican, and Zenon, who was half Jamaican and mixed and half white. So it's like where it's like sometimes I would look at Natalie and I can see her frustration. This girl was so talented. She was an artist, and she she was an artist, and she was just Caucasian. She was just blonde, and she seemed someone who was kind of like not quiet, but just like has her own specific tastes. Like she just likes specificity, like just like likes her own things. And the thing about liking your own thing, the thing about being that age is that you look around you for affirmation for the things that you like and the things that are about you and your life. And I'm talking about this because I can relate in that I was around people who felt like aliens. There were so many girls who walked around in like there was one girl called Maria. She was a lovely girl. She was Spanish, but she spent most of her time alone, and no one seemed to be her friend. No one really seemed. She didn't seem to have a best friend in school in her class or best friend in school. She just seemed to kind of operate alone, always be alone. And she wrote really neatly. She was really smart. I sat next to her. She was really quiet. She was really humble. And she had Lisa Ajay as her best friend, as her friend, who is far different from she is. Lisa is like crazy and weird, comes out with all of these weird, overly religious. And there was too much religion for children who were so young. Like we were still teenagers going through puberty and kids. And some of us, like myself, were focused on being women, marriage, sex, language, building your girl portfolio to try and be a woman of the world, like try to be a woman. And there were girls there who were focused on church, Bible, being religious, being overly, and they were bullies. They were horrid and horrible. Horrid and horrible. Atim, Samantha, Tamara, sometimes a Daisy, sometimes Kimberly. Anybody who subscribed to this whole religious group, like they're all that and popular, made me sick. And it can't just be me. Made everyone sick. Judgy. Talking to about everybody, what course they're doing, what qualification, whether they were having sex or not. Judgy. Like there was no sistership or girlship. And then just like the three girls that were Caucasian in my class who were blonde, I just felt like, I'm trying to show my face, but I'm just walking up. And by the way, I'm in a very bad situation if you're looking at the back of my the back of this video, because I've written a blog about everything that's happened to me, and also basically the situation that is explaining this. Because this is good, because this is the conversations that you can't have when you're with people and you're talking to people in their house and you've wanted to speak with them and actually get to understand them properly and what their real opinion is. What do you really think, Rosemary? What do you really think? What do you really think now, especially now that we've passed it, what was your actual really real opinion? And my opinion was that I felt like they were made to feel guilty about something that wasn't really about them, that wasn't their fault. And I felt that it was so bad that they had to go through 5 years of secondary school and there were only three Caucasian girls. That is number one, not every, like, just because you are skin to someone doesn't mean that you are alike with somebody. So Jessica O'Connell, for example, looks like she had different interests. I know that I think she's been to Australia, or her mother's Australian and stuff like that. And she had to make friends with these two girls who were also blonde, but they were all they're very different. They're just very different. I wanted to go to a school in West London. I wanted to go to school like near Hampton, Twickenham. Like, I was more interested in that area. There was a school called I think, was it William Morris? There was an art school. There was another school. Anything to do with art, I was interested in going there, and like in a nice area that was like not too rowdy. And Clapham and Balham were rowdy schools. There's too many schools in London anyway. There's far too many schools in London. There's more schools in London than any other city in the world. And when you go to Manchester, there's barely that many secondary schools. There's barely that many primary schools. It's only in London where there's like 1 million schools and 1 million primary schools, which is wrong. So these three girls were in the class, and I felt like there were days when I just wanted to actually speak to Jessica O'Connell and hang out with Natalie for her art. But secondary school was very cliquey, and there was this, like, it's very hostile. You know, it's like you have to stick with people who are primitively alike with you, like at the very, like at the base level, like you're both Nigerian, you know, those kind of things. So it doesn't allow for expansion, because there's also this Roman Catholic church ghost that hangs around the whole building, because the whole building is stinking because it's all religion and Catholic and the cross, and I hate all of that stuff. It's gothic, it's dark, it's miserable. The United Kingdom is already dark and miserable. London is already a dark and miserable city. The last thing we need is like Roman Catholic schools, Roman Catholic church. We need things that are like polytechnic, bright, technology, things that are like fun, like yay, art school, like things like that. And then when I left Clapham, I went out into other parts of London towards the edge, and I saw like where, you know, where like Surrey, and I saw like schools that were like lands, like fields, you know, sports, secondary school, technology, secondary school, all these beautiful secondary schools who are not forced to wear this like demeaning uniform, look like a prison, you know, and just like be shoved in with everybody and just be everyone. So that's what I learned from like my time in secondary school. I absolutely hated it. I absolutely hated La Retraite, and I'm not the only one who hated La Retraite. La Retraite was a horrible secondary school. There's a disgusting monster called Miss Angaro, who is literally a living fat vermin, who bullies children, puts children into prejudice, racist, puts children into categories, literally will just shout at you for no reason, blame you for no reason. And I absolutely hated it. I think it's for the most depraved, most vile people. I think it's for people who are poor, parents who don't plan properly, who don't plan and just send their children to any school. That's basically what La Retraite is.